Hello everyone, welcome to e-learning. I am Dr. Gauri Abhyankar, working as Assistant Professor in Abasaheb Garware College, Pune. In this session, we are going to study the second part of endoplasmic reticulum. We will focus mainly on protein trafficking pathways in endoplasmic reticulum. As you know, eukaryotic cells have very complex internal organization. So, sorting and targeting of proteins to their correct destination is a Herculean task. Protein sorting starts during translation. As translation proceeds, the polypeptide chains are transported to ER. These proteins are properly folded and processed in ER, and then they are transported to other organelles. The learning objectives for this session are: first, to study how proteins are targeted to ER and inserted into the ER membrane. Then, to discuss protein processing and quality control in ER. Next is to study protein export from ER and trafficking pathways for export of soluble proteins from ER. Finally, we will see in detail retrieval pathway for resident ER proteins. The slide shows how translation of free and membrane bound ribosomes takes place. Cytoplasm contains large number of ribosomal subunits. This is commonly known as ribosomal subunit pool. During translation of free ribosomes, mRNA encoding a cytosolic protein remains free in the cytoplasm. Many free ribosomes from ribosomal pool in cytoplasm bind to this mRNA, forming free polyribosome and start translation in the cytoplasm. After translation, the ribosomal subunits separate and move back to the pool, and polypeptide chain is set free in the cytoplasm. In a membrane bound ribosome cycle, mRNA encoding a protein which is targeted to ER has a ER signal sequence, so it binds to the ER membrane. Ribosomes attach to mRNA and form polyribosomes which remain bound to the ER membrane. Once translation is complete, ribosome units separate and move back to the pool, but the protein remains bound to the ER membrane. In higher eukaryotes, proteins enter ER co-translationally, that is, during their synthesis, whereas yeast shows both co-translational as well as post-translational entry of proteins in ER. Ribosomes bind to the ER membrane during co-translational translocation, whereas ribosomes complete the synthesis of a protein and release it prior to post-translational translocation. In co-translational translocation, the SRP binds to both exposed ER signal sequence and the ribosome and causes a pause in translation. By doing this, it ensures that the protein is not released into the cytosol, as well as it takes care that the protein folding will not occur before the polypeptide chain moves in the ER lumen. The SRP receptor in the ER membrane binds SRP ribosome complex and directs it to the translocator. The SRP and SRP receptor are then released, leaving the ribosome bound to the translocator in the ER membrane. The translocator then inserts the polypeptide chain into the membrane and transfers it across the lipid bilayer. The translocator is closed until the ribosome has bound, so that the permeability barrier of the ER membrane is maintained at all times. For post-translational translocation, translation is complete and it releases the polypeptide in the cytoplasm. Then only the polypeptide will be inserted in the translocator and will move into the endoplasmic reticulum. In the slide, figure A shows a mammalian SRP. It is a rod-like complex containing 6 protein subunits and 1 RNA molecule. The RNA is shown in red color. The SRP RNA forms the backbone linking the domain of the SRP containing the signal sequence binding pocket to the domain responsible for pausing translation. Figure B shows binding of SRP to the large ribosomal subunit so that its signal sequence binding pocket is positioned near the nascent chain exit site and its translational pause domain is positioned at the interface between the ribosomal subunits. Integral membrane proteins are inserted in membrane by small membrane spanning portion. They typically are hydrophobic sequences of alpha helices consisting of 20 to 25 amino acids. The slide shows different orientations of single pass and multipass proteins in the ER membrane. The two proteins at left and center each span the membrane once, but they differ in whether the amino or carboxy terminus is on the cytosolic side. On the right is an example of a protein that has multiple membrane spanning regions. You can see the structure of Sec61 complex, which is core of translocator. The ribbon structure is the top view of the Sec61 complex seen from the cytosol. The ribbon structure is the top view of the Sec61 complex seen from the cytosol side of the membrane. It constitutes of 3 subunits that are highly conserved from bacteria to eukaryotic cells. The Sec61A subunit is shown in blue and red. The two smaller B and G subunits are shown in grey. The yellow short helix forms a plug. The next figure shows sectional view so that functioning of the translocator is clear. The pore is gated by a short helix. It opens only transiently when a polypeptide chain traverses the membrane. The pore is kept closed in an idle translocator so that the membrane remains impermeable to ions which otherwise would leak out of the ER. The structure of the Sec61 complex is such that the pore can also open along a seam on its side. This opening allows lateral access to a translocating peptide chain into the hydrophobic core of the membrane. Translocation of soluble proteins can be observed here. On binding an ER signal sequence, the translocator opens its pore, allowing the transfer of polypeptide chain across the lipid bilayer as a loop. After the protein has been completely translocated, the pore closes, but the translocator now opens laterally within the lipid bilayer, allowing the hydrophobic signal sequence to diffuse into the bilayer where it is rapidly degraded. There are many different ways of protein insertion into the ER membrane. Some proteins have internal signal sequence. Such proteins are not cleaved by signal peptidases, but they are recognized by SRP and are anchored to the ER membrane. These signal sequences work as transmembrane alpha helices, so they exit translocon and anchor proteins to the membrane. Depending on the orientation of signal sequence, proteins anchored in ER membrane can have their N terminus or C terminus exposed to cytosol. If there are more positively charged amino acids immediately preceding the hydrophobic core of the start transfer sequence than there are following it, the membrane protein is inserted with their C terminus, whereas if there are more positively charged amino acids immediately following the hydrophobic core of the start transfer sequence than there are preceding it, the membrane protein is inserted with its N terminus. Some proteins traverse the membrane many times. These proteins usually contain multiple alternating internal signal sequence and transmembrane stop transfer sequence. In this protein observed in figure on left, there is an internal ER signal sequence that acts as a start transfer signal and initiates the transfer of the C-terminal part of the protein. At some point after a stop transfer sequence has entered the translocator releases the sequence laterally into the membrane. The hydrophobic region nearest the N terminus serves as a start transfer sequence. The small multipass protein on the right has its N terminus located in the ER lumen and its C terminus located in the cytosol. Polypeptide chains need to be folded correctly such that they attain their three-dimensional conformations. This is very crucial for their proper function. For secretory proteins, ER serves as an important site for many processes. One of them is protein glycosylation. N-linked glycosylation that you are observing in the figure takes place in ER on specific asparagine residues. Oligosaccharide units are added to acceptor asparagine residues present in the polypeptide chain. Oligosaccharides consist of 14 sugar residues and are synthesized on lipid carrier, that is dolicol. This dolicol is embedded in ER membrane. The oligosaccharides along with sugar residues are transferred from dolicol to asparagine as a single unit. This transfer is very specific. It happens at a specific consensus sequence by an enzyme called oligosaccharyl transferase. One copy of oligosaccharyl transferase is associated with each protein translocator. It allows the enzyme to scan and glycosylate the incoming polypeptide chains efficiently. Some proteins are attached to plasma membrane by glycolipids. They are called glycosyl phosphatidyl inositol anchors or GPI anchors. They are produced in ER membrane. You can see the process of formation in the figure. Once protein synthesis completes, the anchors are added to C terminus of certain proteins. For this to happen, protein is cleaved at C terminus, the polypeptide chain is attached to GPI anchor in such a way that the protein remains attached to membrane only through its associated glycolipid. Then these proteins are transported through secretory pathway as membrane components to cell surface. Cells carefully monitor the amount of misfolded protein in various compartments. A fairly large number of proteins in ER are degraded mainly because they cannot fold properly. ER quality control involves at least 4 chaperones, protein disulfide isomerase and supporting proteins. 2 chaperones, namely calnexin and calreticulin, help glycoproteins to fold correctly. The slide shows how calnexin helps proper protein folding in ER. Calnexin binds to incompletely folded proteins containing 1 terminal glucose on N-linked oligosaccharides. Terminal glucose is removed by a glucosidase and the protein is released from calnexin. A glucosyl transferase is the crucial enzyme that determines whether the protein is folded properly or not. If the protein is still incompletely folded, the enzyme transfers a new glucose from UDP glucose to the N-linked oligosaccharide. Now, this protein can again bind with the calnexin and will be retained in the ER. The cycle repeats until the protein has folded completely. Completely folded protein then leaves ER. Many times when misfolded proteins accumulate in ER, they show unfolded protein response. It involves many specific effects like an increased transcription of genes encoding ER chaperones, proteins involved in retrotranslocation and protein degradation in the cytosol, and many other proteins that help to increase the protein folding capacity of ER. Misfolded proteins also inhibit a translation initiation factor so that there is reduction in translation. The reduction in translation also helps to reduce the flux of proteins into ER and checks the load of proteins that need to be folded there. But the transcription of genes involved in protein folding must be increased to reduce the unfolded protein response. This is done in a cascade of events. Misfolded proteins in ER activate a transmembrane kinase that signals need for more ER chaperones. Activated kinase works as an endoribonuclease that cuts specific RNA molecules at two specific positions and remove an intron. Then two exons are ligated to form active mRNA that is translated to a gene regulatory protein. This protein enters nucleus and activates genes encoding ER chaperones. So, more chaperones are made which help in protein folding. Proteins present in ER and destined for the Golgi apparatus are packaged into small COP2 coated transport vesicles. These vesicles are formed from ER exit sites. Proteins that have to go to some other organelle selectively enter the transport vesicles and are concentrated in these vesicles. COP2 coat proteins formation needs SAR1 GTPase and its GDP-GTP exchange factor. It is type 2 transmembrane protein. COP2 budding in plants requires only SAR1 GTP, Sec23p 24p and Sec13 31. The first step is activation of SAR1p that is brought about by membrane bound Sec12p. It catalyzes GDP-GTP exchange on SAR1p and activates it. Once activated, it starts off the recruitment of various components of COP2 complex onto specific budding sites on ER membranes. Then Sec23p 24p complex interacts with SAR1p GTP, gets recruited and forms a functional pre-budding complex. The complex binds to SAR1p and starts collecting cargo proteins at the budding site. It then adds Sec13p 31p which forms an outer shell complex. This Sec13p 31p acts like clathrin and physically drives the curvature of membrane to generate a bud. The separation of COP2 coat is triggered by hydrolysis of GTP on SAR1p. The slide depicts different models for protein transport between ER exit sites and Golgi. A secretory default pathway leads from ER via Golgi stacks to the plasma membrane. Export from ER to Golgi occurs via COP2 mediated mechanism, but evidence for a second anterograde pathway independent of COP2 has also been postulated. Relatively high mobility of ER and Golgi may pose certain challenges in transport mechanism. This might have led to the evolution of specific mechanisms in plants so that efficient trafficking can occur. There are three models developed to answer protein transport between ER exit sites and Golgi. First model is vacuum cleaner model. Here Golgi bodies move along the ER to reach vesicles budding from ER exit sites. Cargo molecules can be transferred from these exit sites to the Golgi. Second model is stop and go model. It suggests that there is an unidentified signal present on fixed ER exit sites that causes Golgi bodies to become transiently detached from the actin microfilaments while they acquire cargo proteins from the ER. Later, they reattach to the actin and continue to move. Third model is mobile ER exit site model. The model postulates that Golgi bodies and ER exit sites move together, allowing continual protein transport between the two organelles. To balance the transport pathways, at least one retrograde pathway should be there to carry cargo molecules back from the Golgi to the ER. Retrieval of proteins from Golgi to ER is very much necessary. Some proteins are ER resident proteins that may have a role in folding and modification of newly synthesized proteins. Proteins involved in the export machinery itself may also be salvaged for their reuse in a subsequent round of vesicle formation and transport. The retrieval pathway depends on ER retrieval signals. So, resident ER membrane proteins contain signals binding directly to COP1 coats and so get packaged into COP1 coated vesicles for retrograde delivery to the ER. It is recognized by a receptor or receptor like protein. The binding of ligand to receptor induces the formation of a retrograde vesicle to transport ER resident proteins back to their destination. The best characterized retrieval signal consists of two lysines followed by any two other amino acids at the extreme C terminal end of ER membrane protein. It is called as KKXX sequence. Soluble ER resident proteins such as BIP also contain a short retrieval signal at their C terminal end, but they contain lysine, asparagine, glutamine, leucine, that is KDEL sequence. Most membrane proteins that function at the interface between the ER and Golgi apparatus, including V and T snares and some cargo receptors, enter the retrieval pathway back to ER. Presence of retrieval signals increase the efficiency of retrieval process. It can be seen in the figure that the retrieval of ER proteins begins in vesicular tubular clusters and continues from all parts of Golgi apparatus. The KDEL receptor in vesicular tubular clusters and Golgi apparatus captures soluble ER resident proteins and carries them in COP1 coated transport vesicles back to ER. Upon binding its ligands to this environment, KDEL receptor may change conformation so as to facilitate its recruitment in budding COP1 coated vesicles. Let us summarize this session. To start with, we have seen co-translational and post-translational translocation of proteins across the ER membrane. Then, we have studied the signal recognition particle in detail along with Sec61 complex. Next, we have studied translocation of soluble proteins. Also, transport of proteins having cleavable and non-cleavable internal signal sequence we have seen. We have detailed out protein processing, folding and fate of misfolded proteins. Finally, we have discussed protein transport from ER and also to ER.